Everyone knows Mami and Dom Dom, the bizarrely captivating on-screen duo that completely took over WWE. The pairing of Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio quickly became one of the most talked about, most memed, and most controversial acts in modern wrestling. Their strange, dominant, submissive dynamic hooked millions, blurring the line of kayfabe and leaving a huge chunk of the audience wondering what was real and what was just for the cameras. But while the internet loves their chemistry, the real story of Rhea Ripley's love life is even more surprising and complex than anything WWE creative could dream up. We're pulling back the curtain to reveal the complete list of wrestlers who have actually dated the nightmare. From a childhood friend back in her early wrestling days to her current husband in a rival company. This is the definitive dating history you've been waiting for. To untangle the web of on-screen fiction and real-life romance, we have to go back to the very beginning, to a childhood friend in her early wrestling days in Australia, long before anyone knew her as Mami. Before we dive into the full story, were you one of the fans who thought Mami and Dom Dom were the real deal? Let us know in the comments, and while you're there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more deep dives into your favorite wrestling superstars. The first love, Dane Davies. Long before she was the nightmare in WWE, Demi Bennett was a teenager, starting her wrestling journey in Adelaide, Australia. It was here on the independent scene at Riot City Wrestling that she had her first serious relationship with another wrestler, a man named Dane Davies. This wasn't some whirlwind romance that came with fame, but a bond that grew from a deep, long-standing friendship. Rhea and Dane had known each other since they were kids. Their friendship lasted for over 6 years before it blossomed into a romance around September 2014, when Rhea was just 17. In old social media posts that offer a rare glimpse into her life before the spotlight, a young Rhea Ripley spoke about Dane with incredible affection. In one heartfelt post from May 2015, she called him her best friend and credited him for being her rock, writing, "I miss this guy more and more every day. I don't know where my life would be without him, and hell, I don't want to know. Year after year, for 6+ years straight, he has lifted my spirits each time I have fallen. He has always been there for me, and I couldn't ask for a better best friend that I can now call mine." This was a pivotal time for Rhea. She was honing her craft in promotions like RCW, wrestling under her real name, and slowly building the powerhouse performer we see today. Dane Davies, who wrestled under names like SMASH and Davey Green, was right there with her. They were two young kids with a shared passion, navigating the tough world of independent wrestling together. In another post, Rhea even joked about how she had snubbed him off for 4 to 5 years before finally agreeing to be his girlfriend, showing the playful side of their long history. Their relationship was a crucial chapter of support and stability during a time of massive growth and uncertainty. The early years of wrestling are a grind. The training is brutal, the travel is exhausting, and the pay is often next to nothing. Having a partner who not only understands that struggle, but is living it right alongside you is priceless. For Rhea, Dane was that person. However, the wrestling business is notoriously hard on relationships, especially when careers begin moving in different directions. In 2017, Rhea Ripley's life changed forever when she was signed by WWE. This was the dream, but it also meant uprooting her entire life and moving from Australia to the United States to train at the WWE Performance Center. As Rhea's global ambitions took off, the strain of distance and different paths took its toll, and the relationship quietly ended shortly after. While Dane Davies might not be a name WWE fans know, his role in Rhea Ripley's story is significant. He was her first love and a key part of her early journey, a reminder of the life she lived before the fame, the championships, and the Mami persona. The transitional romance, Jet Armstrong. After her long-term relationship with Dane Davies ended, and as her star continued to rise on the Australian indie circuit, Rhea Ripley began another relationship with a fellow wrestler from Riot City Wrestling, Jet Armstrong. This relationship marked a different phase in her life. While her connection with Dane was rooted in a childhood friendship, her relationship with Jet was with a more established veteran of the scene who was 10 years her senior. The relationship appears to have started around late 2016 or early 2017. a critical time in Rhea's career just before she made the huge leap to WWE. This was a period of transition where she was no longer just a promising local talent, but a wrestler on the verge of international fame. Her social media from that time shows her posting photos with Jet, publicly confirming they were a couple. In one post from March 2017, she affectionately called him her man crush every day of the week, and in another, simply, my man. The dynamic here was different. Armstrong was a respected figure in the local scene, and his experience likely offered a different kind of partnership. For a young wrestler about to step onto the world's biggest stage, being with someone who had a deeper understanding of the business could have been a source of both support and mentorship. Their time together continued even after Rhea signed her WWE contract in mid-2017. This meant they had to deal with the immediate challenges of a long-distance relationship, with Rhea now based in the United States for her NXT training. The first few months of a WWE developmental contract are incredibly demanding, a complete immersion into a new system designed to create superstars. This period is often a make-or-break time for relationships. For Rhea and Jet, it seems the distance and the drastic change in lifestyle were ultimately too much to overcome. By early 2018, posts featuring Jet Armstrong on Rhea's social media ceased. The end of this relationship coincided with her career taking off in NXT UK, where she was quickly positioned as a top star and the inaugural NXT UK Women's Champion. Her life was moving at a breakneck pace, and her focus was shifting entirely to her professional goals. The end of her relationship with Jet Armstrong marked the closing of her Australian chapter. As her personal life became completely tied to her new reality in America, we've uncovered Rhea's early relationships from her days on the indie scene. But the story is far from over. Her journey through NXT and onto the main roster brought new challenges and new romances. Were you surprised by Rhea's dating life before she became a household name? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss who's coming up next. The NXT era partner, Dimitri "Action" Jackson. By 2019, Rhea Ripley was no longer a rookie. She was a certified star in WWE's developmental system, having already held the NXT UK Women's Championship and made huge waves on the main NXT brand in the US. Her life was now firmly planted in Orlando, Florida, a world away from her home in Australia. It was during this period of intense professional focus that she found herself feeling isolated. On Lillian Garcia's Chasing Glory podcast, Rhea opened up about this, saying, "I was very lonely at that time. I made friends with all the staff members at my gym because I didn't want to go home. There wasn't anything there for me." It was in that gym, a sanctuary from the pressures of her career, that she met her next partner, an independent wrestler named Dimitri Jackson, also known as Action Jackson. She described him as the new guy at my gym, and their connection began as a friendship born from a shared passion, which soon blossomed into romance. They officially began dating in 2019. Unlike her previous relationships, this was her first major one as a WWE superstar based in the US. The couple went public in October 2019, with Rhea confirming the relationship on Twitter with a photo of them captioned, "The one that keeps me sane." Dimitri, whose real name is Kevin, responded lovingly, "Action approves. Love you, Mosh Pit Kid." They were very open about their relationship on social media, frequently posting pictures together and giving fans a glimpse into their life as a wrestling couple. However, their dynamic was complicated by their vastly different career paths. When they started dating, Rhea was one of NXT's fastest rising stars, on the verge of a major push that would see her win the NXT Women's Championship from Shayna Baszler. Dimitri, on the other hand, was just beginning his wrestling journey. Despite holding a master's degree in sports and exercise science and being a dedicated athlete, he was still very new to the business. Rhea spoke about this, explaining that she wanted to help him succeed, but that he was determined to make it on his own. "I've been trying to help him along the way," she said in 2020. "He's been straight on not wanting too much of my help because he wants to succeed on his own. He doesn't want me to give him anything, which I appreciate." This created a tough situation where one partner was a globally recognized star, while the other was navigating the indie scene and even had a short, unsuccessful run in AEW. Their relationship lasted for about 3 years, a significant period that saw Rhea move from NXT to the main roster and win the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 37. They were a couple through the height of the pandemic, a difficult time for everyone, especially for an indie wrestler like Dimitri, who struggled to get bookings. In 2022, however, the relationship came to an end. Neither has ever publicly stated why they broke up, and they have remained respectful of each other since. Fans have often speculated that the pressure of their different career trajectories was a potential factor, a common story in the wrestling business. This chapter of her life in America ended just as she was about to enter another, both professionally with the Judgment Day and personally with a fellow Australian wrestler who would change her life forever. The main roster and current love, Buddy Matthews. The final and most significant person on this list is Rhea Ripley's husband, fellow Australian wrestler and AEW star, Buddy Matthews. Their love story is a modern wrestling fairy tale, one that has navigated rival promotions, public scrutiny, and the pressures of being a top-tier power couple. Their paths first crossed while both were in WWE. Buddy Matthews, formerly known as Buddy Murphy, had been with the company since 2013, while Rhea joined in 2017. They were on the main roster at the same time briefly in 2021, before Matthews was released that June. According to one report, their first real conversation was less than romantic, with Buddy supposedly telling Rhea to stop bringing her then-partner backstage. Despite that rocky start, a friendship began to form. In 2022, after Matthews had signed with WWE's rival, AEW, rumors of a romance between him and Rhea began to spread, fueled by a viral video of them working out together. Fans immediately noticed their chemistry, and the wrestling internet started buzzing. The confirmation came in a now famous social media exchange. When a fan asked Rhea what Buddy had that he didn't, Rhea simply replied, "Me." And with that, one of wrestling's newest power couples was official. Their relationship immediately grabbed fans' attention as two top-tier talents from rival companies who were openly in love. They were incredibly supportive of each other publicly, sharing glimpses of their life together on social media, whether hitting the gym for intense workouts, cheering for their shared favorite Australian football team, the Adelaide Crows, or just enjoying their time together. Rhea has discussed how supportive Buddy is of her massive success in WWE. At a time when Rhea became arguably the biggest female star in the industry, some wondered if it would create tension. On Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast, Rhea shut that down completely, saying, "He's very comfortable in what he's doing and who I am. He also loves to help me along the way and help me grow, which is what a relationship should be. It's a team." Buddy himself has often joked about the on-screen Mami and Dom relationship, making funny posts that show he's a good sport about his wife's kayfabe romance. In August 2023, the couple took the next big step. While vacationing at Cocoa Beach, Florida, Buddy Matthews proposed. Rhea announced the engagement on Instagram with a picture of her showing off the ring, captioned 1,000 times, "Yes, pure F, happiness." The news was met with a flood of congratulations, though it did surprise some fans who were so invested in the Dom storyline they thought it was real. Less than a year later, on June 23, 2024, Rhea Ripley and Buddy Matthews got married. They announced it with a joint Instagram post, sharing a stunning photo from their wedding day. The picture showed the couple kissing, with Rhea in a beautiful black off-the-shoulder gown and Buddy in an all-black suit, standing before a red neon sign that read, "Till Death." Their wedding perfectly reflected their darker, alternative style and solidified their status as wrestling's ultimate goth power couple. The kayfabe romance that changed everything. Dominic Mysterio. Now that we've covered the real-life romances, we have to talk about the on-screen relationship that redefined Rhea Ripley's professional career. You simply can't discuss Rhea Ripley without mentioning her on-screen partnership with Dominic Mysterio. This storyline wasn't just a side note, it was a phenomenon that redefined her character and shot them both into a new level of superstardom. It all began in 2022 when the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, was feuding with the legendary Rey Mysterio and his son, Dominic. For weeks, the Judgment Day tormented the Mysterio family with relentless mind games and brutal beatdowns. Rhea, in particular, seemed to take a sadistic pleasure in targeting Dominic. She would manhandle him, whisper in his ear, and create a dynamic that was deeply unsettling but impossible to look away from. As Rhea herself said, she would beat him up and choke him out with her legs, and out of that physicality, a strange romance story began to form. The turning point came at Clash at the Castle in September 2022. In a moment that sent shockwaves through the industry, Dominic attacked his own father in Edge, officially turning heel and joining the Judgment Day. The next night on Raw, his transformation was complete. Rhea Ripley stood proudly by his side, claiming that she had made him into a man. That one line ignited the storyline, suggesting a manipulative relationship that went far beyond a simple wrestling alliance. From that moment on, Mami and Dom were inseparable. Rhea became Dominic's on-screen protector and domineering partner, while Dominic transformed from a nervous young performer into one of the most hated heels in the company, a cocky brat who hid behind his Mami. Their chemistry was undeniable, and they leaned into the absurdity of it all, sharing longing glances and uncomfortably close embraces. The pairing generated such legitimate heat that crowds would boo Dominic out of buildings before he could even speak. The storyline was so convincing that many fans genuinely believed Rhea and Dominic were a real-life couple, even though both were in committed relationships off-screen. Dominic married his longtime partner in early 2024, with Rhea in attendance, and Rhea was openly with Buddy Matthews. Still, the power of their on-screen performance often overshadowed reality. The saga eventually grew into a complex love triangle. In early 2024, Liv Morgan returned with one goal: take everything from Rhea. The rivalry took a dark turn on the April 8th episode of Raw, when Liv attacked Ripley backstage, causing a real arm injury that forced Rhea to vacate the Women's World Championship after a record-tying 380-day reign. With Rhea gone, Liv began her revenge tour, which meant taking not just Rhea's title, but also her man. She started making obvious moves on Dominic, who at first resisted out of loyalty to Mami, but the lines eventually blurred, and Dominic betrayed Rhea by kissing Liv, which ultimately led to Ripley being kicked out of the Judgment Day upon her return. Rhea has said that her on-screen angle with Dominic was never planned to be romantic, but they grabbed the ball and ran with it when they saw the chemistry taking off. While it was pure fiction, the storyline with Dominic Mysterio remains the most famous and defining relationship of Rhea Ripley's career. So there you have it, the complete and often surprising dating history of Rhea Ripley. From a teenage romance forged on the Australian indie scene with Dane Davies, through a transitional relationship that marked her journey to America, to finding a partner in Dimitri Jackson during her rise in NXT, and finally to her real-life love story and marriage with AEW's Buddy Matthews. And of course, we broke down the iconic Dominic Mysterio pairing, the masterful storyline that blurred the lines between fiction and reality, and defined an entire era of WWE. Rhea Ripley's story is one of relentless ambition, personal growth, and finding love in the most unexpected places. Now that you know the full story, what's the most shocking part of Rhea Ripley's dating history to you? Was it her long-term teenage relationship, or the fact that her on-screen romance with Dominic was never even supposed to happen? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the lives of your favorite wrestlers, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching.